Hold up.
I don't think we've had enough Superman drama lately. I think we need to add a little bit more. As if there hasn't been enough attention to John Kent and to Truth, Justice, and A Better Tomorrow. Now we have another situation that's been brewing for a couple days, but I wanted to make sure I did my due diligence when looking into this, because there is always two sides. Now, what I am specifically talking about is the colorist from DC Comics, or previously from DC Comics, that is now left over wokeness, I guess, is what is going on here. From my understanding, it is Truth, Justice, and A Better Tomorrow. But I will tell you why I call BS on that, because there is no reason why now would be different than any time before. So what we're seeing is a bunch of media coverage saying that Gabe Eltaeb left. He is the colorist he did some Action Comics with Philip Kennedy Johnson, but he was working with Bruce Timm and with Tom Taylor on Son of Kal-El. Now, I have had my own issues with Son of Kal-El, none of which has to do with the motto or Jonathan being gay. It has to do with a little bit of the writing, and we've discussed that in previous videos. So I'm not really going to talk about that now. But from the statements that were given in an Ethan Van Sciver podcast, and if you know my history, you know my issue with that, we see Gabe Eltaeb say he is tired of DC Comics ruining these characters. He's upset about the motto. What I want to bring your attention to is me calling bullshit. And I have a lot of reasons for that, most specifically because he was working at DC Comics when Clark renounced his citizenship in Action Comics 900. That's way worse. That's like way worse than a motto change. He was working for them then. He also worked on titles like Ignited. He worked on Catwoman Election Night. Why did you have all of a sudden a problem, but Clark Kent, not his son, Clark Kent not even being a citizen of America was no big deal. No big deal whatsoever. And you worked on Humanoids Ignited, which is beyond me because that's kind of a parody. Also, we see Greg Rucka's Lois Lane, and I like other work from Greg Rucka. Lois Lane was not my favorite. It was just, I like the Renee Montoya stuff. I will say that. I love Renee Montoya, though, as a character, specifically as the Question. But all of these things are a lot worse than a motto change that is barely ever used. So that is the only reason I call bullshit, especially with that Action Comics 900. That was a really big to-do. If you were going to leave over anything, it would make sense that you would leave over that, right? I also think that the whole, let's go back a few months, right? Maybe 2 months. And we had the leak that Jonathan Kent was going to be made bisexual, which of course we now know has come true. That leak originally did come, and I did make sure, from Ethan Van Sciver. There was a difference in date from Bleeding Cool to Ethan Van Sciver. So yes, that is the first person that reported it, because he was fed information from Gabe Eltaeb. And I'm not saying that as I am guessing he is. Recently in Eric July's video, if you go on the subject, I believe it may have been, I'll put the thumbnail on the screen because I don't know the title of it. He admits it. He admits that's where he got information from. I don't know what kind of a contract people have at DC Comics. I don't know if they have NDAs. But surely that would seem like it would be breaching any sort of contract, and they would absolutely have the right to not want to finish out the contract. Now, I do think this part is a theory. I do think there was a Now let's go over here real quick, because this is kind of where it all begins. There was some tweets that were sent out by Shelley Lepresky basically saying, as if we need more reason to boycott DC Comics, they're blacklisting people that associate with comicsgate. And then basically saying, outing him, not by saying his name. And I like Aaron Lepresky. I've had him on here before. So no disrespect meant to either one of them. But then we have Kurt Busiek, who's been around for forever, saying, I note that a certain colorist is claiming he's leaving DC over political differences, when in fact he was fired for going on CG podcast and trashing the publisher on the book he was working on. That's the difference. And then he corrects. Again, a little bit later on, he didn't quit. He was planning out to work the rest of his contract term, but he is now free from that burden. So that is true. There is quotes saying he was going to finish out his contract, right? And then his contract was terminated. Anywhere you work, it doesn't matter if it's DC Comics, it doesn't matter what. You can't go around and talk bad about the company. You can't work for the House of Mouse if you've ever said anything, and they're going to check your social credit score to see if you've ever said anything bad. Ever. You cannot go to your work and look at the person that owns that business and say, I can't stand what you're doing with this place, and expect not to get in trouble. You just cannot. It is that simple. I cannot go to work and say, I hate this place, you're ruining it, and expect not to be reprimanded. Welcome to adulting. That's as simple as it is. I feel bad in a way for Gabe. I do. I feel like he thought that he was either A, not getting his contract renewed, that's my guess, or he felt like he was able to openly associate with whoever he wants. Now, of course he should be able to. But you can't expect to go on a stream with somebody that dogs your company all the time, and then you yourself dog the company. If you're associating with anybody, then make sure you don't go on there and be like, oh, DC, oh, I'm tired of this shit. You just can't do it. Now, I do understand what he's saying about Comic-Con. He thanked Jerry Robinson, who invented the Joker, and I think that's sweet. But then he goes on to say, fuck it, it's truth, justice, in the American way. My grandpa almost died in World War II. We don't have the right to destroy that shit. People died to give us, right? Okay. Here's the thing. I didn't realize World War II was fought so Superman could say truth, justice, in the American way. It wasn't. This is kind of the definition of being a little overly sensitive. And I would use the word snowflake, but I think that might be a little triggering to some. Oh my God, I can feel the ratio coming. I can just feel the ratio, and I'm still recording. They do have a right to do this. Unfortunately, whatever you don't like with DC, take up with DC. Don't publicly make them look bad. Just don't. These are their characters. And I hate it too sometimes, right? There's been plenty of times I said, you're playing with my toys wrong, but they're still not technically my toys, right? I can joke around and be funny, but yeah, it's not that. So I do call a little bullshit on it. Nobody died in World War II for that saying, nor to keep Jonathan straight. He was created in 2015, right? I think this is a little overblown, and I don't think he was expecting it. Now, I could be wrong about that. I have no idea. I get it. People are upset. The American way was a part of it. Not originally. We covered this. Wasn't originally there. It was there for a few years, and then they took it away, and then it's been back around, right? I get you're upset about that. I do. But it could come back. And it could be something working from inside the company and pushing them to bring it back if that meant that much to you. You could help with that situation. Instead, you go on and you make yourself and your company by extension look bad. You go on to say, they call us racists and bigots. And I would ask them, find me one effing mainstream, not on the fringes, one book, one t-shirt, one movie that says leftism is bad and conservatism is good. What are you watching that sits there and tells you leftism is good? And if that's what you're watching, you only control your life. You only control your life. Step back. Get off of Twitter. That's the biggest thing. Get off of Twitter. Twitter is not real life. Twitter is not real life. Twitter is not real life. Do I need to say it again? Step back. I don't know what you're watching that actually says leftism is good and conservatism is bad, because I'm not. Because I avoid anything like that that is inherently political, because I have no interest in it. Maybe that's what you enjoy. But if that's what you enjoy, then why are you complaining about it? Just step back. Stop looking at everything through this SJW, wokeism, Nazi, lens. If you enjoyed comics so much, you worked your ass off to get it, why are you abandoning that? And I watched his video on his YouTube channel, and I thought it was really good. It was well edited. He speaks well. He did a good job with it. But I don't know where the problem lies. I have no idea. No clue whatsoever. Anyways, food for thought. Let me know your opinion on this. I definitely think there is more to the story, because I think, you know, in a situation like that, like I said, he would have left at Action Comics 900. It would have only made sense. So all of this is a mess. Don't let it get you down, no matter who you are. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.